Good. She'll make an appearance because
good.
she does
Okay.
that. So yeah, she's good. She's all right.
Good.
She's
good.
behaving so far. Knock on wood.
And your cat's name is
Lady.
Oh, that's right, Lady. Yes.
And
I should have remembered that.
The long story short is I kind of inherited her. So I did not name her Lady, but I just inherited her, and so I believe in keeping pets' names. Whatever you say it is, that's what it's got to be. I just grew up that way. So
Absolutely, you can't change.
No, you can't change. You'll confuse them.
Right. I mean, it's like people. You can't.
Right.
It's not a good idea to change.
No, it is not.
It's not. Yes. Welcome, everybody, to a Three Geeks MatTalk PVDcast conversation. It is Jason, Destiny, and John. We are joined by Leanne Matlock herself, Brynn Thayer. Brynn, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks. It's so good to be with you all.
We are almost done with season 7, and I got to say, I am really enjoying the chemistry you and Andy have on the show so far. It's fantastic. Maybe some of my favorite of the series. But what made you want to get into acting?
Well, let's see. I was a school teacher first, and that's kind of an acting job in itself. I think certainly it was my hardest job. And you kind of have to act, all day long with all those kids, and entertain. I will say, entertain them to keep them focused and interested. I moved to New York with a girlfriend of mine after teaching for several years. We didn't know what we were going to do, but one thing led to another. I got with a modeling agency, and I was kind of the only housewife type that they had in the agency. So I got a commercial or two, and that led me into acting. I really didn't know what I was doing, which I think helped me in the commercial world. And then after several years of doing that, and I was having, a great time and great success with that, I thought, I better take some acting classes to see what this is all about, which I did. And ran into a casting director who thought I'd be right for a part on One Life to Live, a soap opera back in the 70s. And I was replacing a character that was very well loved, and they had some kind of contract dispute, I think. And so I was up for that part. I was a soap opera fanatic. So I knew all the characters. I knew this person that, I was going to try to replace. And I knew that I probably would not get it on my acting ability, but I knew also that, the network feels that they have to replace a character with somebody that looks similar so as not to shock the audience, like maybe they won't notice. And this gal had this actress had a very distinct haircut. So I thought, well, I'll get my hair cut just like hers. And I did. And I always say that it was the haircut that got me the job and not my acting. I learned to act on that soap opera because I had these fabulous actors that I worked with who had studied, quite a bit. And they were so generous with their time that they, stayed late with me, got up early with me, got to work early, not got up with me, got up with me. They got to work early with me and, really taught me what they knew. And I was there for 8 years and I loved every day of it. It was so much fun.
I love that. I loved One Life to Live.
Oh, yes.
I grew up watching it with like my mom and my grandma. It was like our thing. That's what we did. We'd sit down, we'd watch that, General Hospital, all the soap operas. Yes. I've always loved them. But they're really fast and they're very demanding, especially emotionally. What was kind of the most challenging part for you kind of to get into that format of working?
Well, the memorization, I think once you start learning that memorization and you do it almost every day on the soap opera, your brain really kicks in and you learn to memorize quickly because you really have to. So once I kind of got over that hump, that was helpful. My character was an ex-nun who had been married like 5 times. God kept punishing her for different things and killing her off her husbands. So I was crying a lot. And so the character I was playing, I had to kind of learn how to cry on cue. And so I did. And once I got over that hump, it got easier. But it was challenging and great fun.
If I may, I have a question that I've wanted to ask a soap opera actor or actress for many, many years. So enlighten me, what was a standard week like shooting those particular soap operas? Like how did they work as compared to, say, shooting a movie or shooting an episode of Matlock?
Well, let's see. We would get, on a TV show, they shoot maybe 5 pages a day, maybe 6. But on a soap opera, they shoot, I'd say 70 pages. So, because we were doing an hour show. Maybe it's not quite 70, but I think it's right around there. So that was, all very fast. You'd get there at 7. They do it differently now, but back in the day, we would get there about 7 would be our first call. And we would work on the show down in the rehearsal room. The director would block us. Then we'd have a little time off. We'd start getting kind of ready. We'd work with the people that we were in the scene with during that time. And then we would start what they called a dry blocking. So we would go up to the stages because we were down in the basement. We go up to the stages and we would do the dry blocking. Everybody pretty much had their scripts in their hands, but you got to come to work prepared, knowing your lines. You really can't do it on the fly. Then we'd break for lunch, come back and have a full dress rehearsal. And we would go from exactly the way the script is. We'd go from one set to another. The cameras would follow. We would have a quick break, and then we would start in probably about 5 o'clock in the afternoon and tape the show. So that would, maybe go till 8. That would be a good day, unless we had those big party scenes or courtroom scenes, or it would go later. But I think they usually tried to get us out by 8. It's probably contractual. But they would finish, we would finish a show. And, sometimes your storyline was the main focus. So you would maybe work 4 or 5 days a week. Sometimes you were a little bit back burner. So you would come in, 2 or 3 times a week. So it just kind of depended on what they were focusing on with the storylines.
So, oh, sorry.
That's all right. Did that answer your question, John?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
So, getting Matlock, what was that like? And then I've got a follow-up question after.
Well, the first time I worked on Matlock, I played a different character. I was a murderer, and it was such a good character, and I had so much fun with Andy, and I feel like it might have been a two-parter. I'm not sure. I can't remember that, but so that was, that's what we do out here. We do guest roles, and if we're lucky enough, we get on a show. But I was doing guest roles at the time, and so I don't know. Months went by. I was driving somewhere I know exactly where I was in LA, and my agent called and said, "Are you sitting down?" I said, "Well, I'm in my car." She said, "Well, pull over for a second." And so I did. And she said, "They want you to come back as Andy's daughter." And I said, "Well, I just did a murderer. That's not going to work." They said, "Well, they don't care. They don't care. Well, that's over. That's done. But now they want you to come back, but you're going to have to move to North Carolina." And so I said, "Okay, great." And I was so excited. I mean, I was just thrilled.
I'm sure we have a lot of Matlock questions, but my follow-up question is one that the fans are so torn about. So does Matlock have two daughters or just the one? Because there was Charlene, played by Linda Pearl, and then there was you. And there's some that think you guys are the same character. There's some that think they're separate characters. So do you know the answer to that?
Oh, gosh, I wish I knew, Jason. I think there was another daughter in there, too. I think it was funny. I guess Nancy Stafford was not a daughter.
Mm-mm.
Linda Pearl for sure was a daughter.
Lori Lathine played Leanne in the pilot.
Oh, what was her name?
Lori Lathine.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't, and I don't know whatever happened to that daughter, Linda Pearl. Because we never mentioned her, but her character's name wasn't Leanne, was it?
No, Charlene.
No. Oh, Charlene. Okay. Your guess is as good as mine.
The Cunningham effect.
All right.
I'm going to ask how it was to work with Daniel Roebuck, because you worked with him a lot in season 7 and 8. And we've had him on the show as well, and he's a delightful individual. So I assume probably the same way that he was with us, he was with you and the others on the set. Am I correct on that?
Absolutely. He was, when Danny was working, he's just this joyful man, and he was funny, and he had a lightness about him, and he always told jokes, and I really enjoyed him. And he was one of those very giving actors. You could just, he gave so much to a scene, or he'd have an idea and, you'd want to implement it. And he's a good guy, really good guy.
Love that. So Matlock, it's a surprisingly progressive show for its era, especially in the treatment of women who make up the cast. How much input did you have in the development of Leanne as a character, and was there anything about her that you kind of really fought to include or exclude from her character development?
I didn't have a lot of input, I think the writers, which they were so good, I thought as I was on the show, they wrote more for the way that I speak. And so everything was very easy to, come out of my mouth. Because they wrote, I know they wrote for Andy specifically. They wrote for all of us. So I think that made us all very, I hope, very real and down to earth. It was, it was just a good slice of life. So I didn't ever feel the need to ask for something because I felt fulfilled by what they were giving me. Maybe I thought she certainly had a bad picker in men. And, that was something that, maybe would have been nice to have it develop into something else, or that I grew through that.
Yeah.
But I think one of my wonderful actor, and I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but we had a big storyline together and he turned out to be a murderer. So that was disappointing.
Oh,
or he stole something from me. I can't quite remember, but he was an excellent actor. So I was, I was very happy and fulfilled when I was in that character. And
I love that. That makes it even better that it was already written that way. You didn't have to fight to have something special in your character.
No.
I love that.
Yeah.
One of the things so season 7, and one thing that Matlock has done in general really well is reinventing itself whenever, cast changes hands. But going into a season 7 of any show, one is tough, and especially with the cast turnover with, adding you and Danny Roebuck to the cast. But I am reinvigorated with the show. I am really enjoying season 7, and you and Andy's chemistry is fantastic. There's some conversations that you have with him, and John will be like, I don't think a father and daughter would talk that way. And I'm like, me and my 18-year-old daughter talk that way. She's very honest with me about things I don't need to know anything about. What was the on-set dynamic with Andy like?
That was magic. It was immediate. He was in that first show that I did when I played the murderer. It was just so easy. You just follow his lead, and it takes you everywhere you want to go. That's a brilliant man. And all you have to do is listen, and you get everything you want. So that was a gift.
I would like to ask real quickly, because one of my memorable Leanne scenes was a scene in which you got a chance to interact with Ace Calhoun, played by, of course, Don Knotts, and it was one of those conversations where he was needling Leanne about being married and having kids, and then she turned the tables and asked him about his sex life, and he got all real indignant and stormed off. So what was it like working with Don Knotts?
Oh my God, fantastic! What a guy! Loved him. And was that scene done around a table, as I remember?
Yes, it is. Yes.
And were we painting the living room or something?
There was
another episode?
That was another one. I believe this one, there was a meeting at the house, at Andy's house.
Okay.
And because I can't remember what season that was in. I think that was in it's coming up, I think, in season 7, if I remember correctly. But so he was a joy to work with, obviously.
Gosh. Oh, you can't even imagine. You can't stop laughing, and you have to get through the scene, and just, he would say something, and I really, it was a lot of bloopers. I just said, sorry, I can't hold it together here. But I definitely got through it. But, then he would, if we, do a second or third take, it was always just different. And so the editors, got to just pick from gold. That was really fun. Him and Milton Berle were quite interesting to work with.
What about if I could ask about Warren Frost, because he plays Billy, and I just wanted to, if you could give us a few stories about working with him.
Well, he became a very good friend of mine, and I also know his son, Mark Frost, who's a wonderful writer. He's he's kind of that person. That you just want to be with, for his wisdom and his love and the joy that he brings to others. I still miss him. He was that kind of man.
Yeah, such a sad loss. I was today years old when I found out that his son was the writer of Twin Peaks. Like that.
Yes.
Didn't even click with me that Mark Frost was his son. That's amazing.
Right. Another, apple doesn't fall far from the tree on those two.
Absolutely. What's role outside of Matlock? Because like you said, you were doing guest roles and stuff leading up to that really stands out to you.
Oh, before Matlock?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did. Before Matlock, a role on Moonlighting. I don't know whether you all ever saw those. Yeah. That was one of my favorite roles, because the writing on that show was just off the charts, I thought. So I felt really lucky to be on that show for just, as a guest role. I think it was the first episode on their, they had a half a year series. And then I was on the first episode of the first full year. I loved that show. I really enjoyed several years ago being on Suits.
Nice.
That was a great experience with that whole cast. They were quite a machine in a great way. Every show has brought me something to my life, and hard to pin down, my favorites, because one thing, would lead to another. So I love to work. So I just want to work.
Definitely. I'll let you get to your question. I just want to say, when I was watching Suits, binging it like everybody else was during COVID, yes. I remember yelling, "Oh my God, it's Matlock's daughter!" And my daughter in the other room's like, "Shut up, I'm trying to sleep." Like, I was so excited that we were on that show.
I can perfectly hear Kylie doing that.
So was I.
So with two big shows like One Life to Live, Matlock, and those kind of things, did you ever get to take anything from set? Like when it was done, did you get to take something special that you still have today that means you get to look back on?
Oh yeah, I got a lot of things in here. Let's see. Let's see. I got. This was from. Oh no, I know that this was from a show that I did with Richard. Why have I forgotten his name? Gorgeous man. It was called Island Sun.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, somebody get online and look it up.
I got
Richard. Anyway.
Richard Chamberlain.
Richard Chamberlain. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I was gonna guess that, by the way. I seriously was gonna guess that.
Yes, you should have.
John said, "Who are the gorgeous Richards I know?"
Well, I take something from every place I've been, because I just, good memory. Nothing I shouldn't be taking, but
right.
I like to have those little things around my house just to remind me.
No, even the small little mementos, for sure.
Exactly, those little mementos, right?
So fan interactions. I mean, we've talked to people who've said like they've kind of changed over the years because like you have your pre-social media fan interactions versus now when things are more on streaming and you can rewatch things. There's whole new generations finding out about shows. Are there any like fan interactions you've had that kind of surprised you?
Fan interactions? I don't do any social media.
Nice.
So
you live a peaceful life.
So those kind of interactions, I do get fan mail still from Matlock, basically, because I think it from a lot of Europeans, and that's kind of, that's fun because I must be playing, in different countries right now. When I was doing the soap, college students were into the soaps, and one day, and prisoners were, our fan base, basically, or my fan base. I don't know why. I guess because I was an ex-nun, played an ex-nun. But I remember getting, the first fan mail I ever got, piece of fan mail. I opened it up. I was so excited. I was so nervous. I was on this show, and the first line was, "You will never be Jenny Woloch." That was my character. "Who do you think you are?" And just through the letter, she was so mad that her character had been replaced by me. And at that point, I thought, I better not open any more mail. This is too terrible. So, I'm sure that's like social media when you get blasted for something, I don't know whether I could handle it, but the college kids were big, they would move their schedules around in order to watch certain soaps. And I got a huge photograph from a fraternity, and the guys who said they were my biggest fans, and they were all naked. And they had either a hat or one of their, fraternity things over their privates, but they just wanted to show me how excited they were that about the show and about me. So I went from one extreme to the other.
That's insane. Yeah. That's so crazy.
I still have it.
That makes it even better.
Yeah. I wish I'd gotten it out for you guys to see because it's hysterical.
That would have been funny.
Well, besides acting, because you're obviously still active with acting, what kind of things do you enjoy doing?
Well, I write. I wrote a play a couple years ago called Let Me In, and I directed and produced it. And it was, did really well here in LA. And I just wrote a book with a girlfriend of mine, short stories and poetry. And we self-published it, and it'll come out sometime in the spring. So I love to write scenes, and that gives me a lot of pleasure. I'm a dog owner. There's my dog behind me, and he's get a lot of pleasure from him. And we have a great network of people here in LA, good friends, and some in and out of the business. So I'm fortunate.
That's awesome. You have to let me know when the book comes out. One, because you should come back on to promote it. And secondly, because I want to check it out. I like poetry.
Oh, you do? Okay, Jason. Good. I will.
So I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
No, I think you're going to ask the same question I was going to ask. What's on the docket for you, Brynn? Do you have some projects lined up that you would like to talk real quick about?
I just did a Hallmark movie called Kentucky Roses. Do you all watch any Hallmark?
I do every day, every chance I get. Oh my gosh. I work for a convention company, and we do Hallmark Christmas convention where we bring in a lot of the actors out and so forth. And no, I love the Hallmark stuff. Like I'm
okay.
a
I think
big
you're
fan
gonna
of
like this
Tyler
one.
Hines and Ryan Pate, all of them, like fantastic. Lacey Spare, I'm in for all of the Hallmark.
Okay, well, I did one called Kentucky Roses. So it's going to be with Andrew Walker. Do you know Andrew Walker? He's like one of the big Hallmark stars. Fantastic person.
Yeah, he's one of the three wise men.
Yes, exactly. And they did it all. They were able to get Churchill Downs to shoot the whole thing at Churchill Downs, and it's really, I think it's going to be really a good Hallmark movie. I play Andrew's mother, and I had such a great time. We shot it, in Louisville, Kentucky, and it'll be out, I think, the day after the Derby. So the Derby, that's the first week in May, I think it is. So
awesome! I can't wait to watch it. It's got Greg Henry in it too. I'm all in. I can't wait.
Oh yeah, good. I'll come back. We'll watch it together, Jason.
That sounds great.
Okay,
Brynn, thank you so much for joining us.
I had so much fun with you all. My first podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Absolute honor. And shout out to Liz, who sent in one of the questions that Destiny asked. She's one of our biggest fans. So again,
hi, Liz.
Thank you so much. Everybody like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.